Hello everyone. Today we are diving into the world of vocal production with our brand new plugin, Vocal Reverb by AutoTune. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting, this AI-driven tool is about to speed up the way you craft your vocal reverbs. So let's dive in. All right, so I have Vocal Reverb pulled up on my session here, and I do have a vocal track and some instrumental tracks that we're going to mix together so we can hear how the vocal reverb blends with everything. But first, let's talk about the plugin. So this is what it's going to look like when you first install and download it. There is an advanced panel tab right here that you can open up, and this is where you can access your pre and post verb effects. I'm going to close this right now just so we can concentrate on what is up here. So to the left, we have your delay module. In the middle are all of your reverb controls. To the right, we have your mix controls. The bottom right here is your auto EQ control. To the top left here, we have your input type, and this is very important to set. And I would say set this before you really do anything else with the reverb. The reason for this is this directly affects what happens in auto EQ and how it tracks the vocal to be precise. In the middle here, we have our presets. And to the right of that, we have our AI assist function. So first, I'm just going to play the track so you can hear what it sounds like and what we're working with.
Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over.
Yep, pretty dry, but it's got some pitch tuning, some EQ, and some compression already going on. I have the reverb on a bus, and what I'm going to do right now is set the input type. To do that, you want to play the audio first and then hit the learn function. So here we go.
Over me. Give me what I want. I want you.
All right, now that that is set, I'm going to dive right into the AI assist function. So the same thing with the input type. You want to play the audio and then hit assist and then go through the prompts that it brings up. All right, here we go. All right, so we got selections for style, size, and tone. So I know I want a pretty big, pretty dramatic type of reverb, so I'm going to go for concert hall. I'm going to push this up just a little bit for size. And for tone, I want something bright. And please keep in mind, you're not going to hear these changes yet, but when we get to the very last prompt, we're going to be able to preview and apply them. So let's get to the next prompt. Here, we got some templates we can apply, gritty 80s and some effects with octave down and up. I'm going to start with just gritty. Hit next. Great, so now it's basically come up with the idea of what it wants to give us. So I'm going to hit preview. All right, so we got our reverb there. It's really big, but keep in mind, I do have the reverb on a bus where we can blend. But I want to make an adjustment, so I'm going to hit back. And I'm going to go with 80s, see what that's like. And preview. Yeah, real smooth. I like that. And I'm going to apply. All right, and as you probably noticed while we were doing that and hit preview, all the controls in the background would move based on what we were selecting in those prompts. So we're going to cover those real quick here. So now the delay module has turned on because each of these you could turn on and off, but it did pick a delay time of 1/8 notes, a mix around 18%, low feedback at 10%, and a low pass of around 3000 hertz. Next in the middle, the reverb totally changed. So it went with a 27 millisecond pre-delay. You can choose to sync it with your DAW and you get these functions. I'm going to go back to what it selected. It determines the mod rates. The style is a hall, which makes sense because I went for a really big concert, really big dramatic sounding reverb. The decay is set to 8.70 seconds. Very low damping, but the diffusion is pushed way up. Next, the auto EQ, it got pushed all the way to 100%. We'll dive into what that does in a little bit. So now let's listen to the reverb along with the instrumental track.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over.
Actually, it's blending really nicely right now. I really like it. Yep. It's definitely getting really close to what I want. But I'm going to go ahead now and play around with some of the settings just to personalize it a little bit, because I think it's 99% there. There are some things I want to play around with. So I'm going to turn off the instrumental, and I'm going to loop the vocal again and play around with the reverb. I'm going to boost the mix on the delay a little just to see what happens.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want.
Yeah. I'm now going to time sync the pre-delay, and this syncs it to the session, which is really nice. And as you can see from the display, it's moving it actually up a little bit closer. And this affects how fast the reverb is affecting that dry vocal. I'm going to go with those dotted 16ths. And let's see if I do the same thing with the delay.
Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want.
And now I'm going to adjust the decay on this a little bit.
Give me what I want.
It was really in a nice sweet spot there already.
Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want.
I'm going to play with the width with the instrumental on with it.
Give me what I want.
It opens it up just a little bit.
Give me what I
like it.
Want you all over me. Give me what I want.
All right, so now that's set, I'm going to play around with the auto EQ. So I'm going to mute the instrumental so we can hear what it does. And it's very slight what you hear, but it does make a big impact. Yep. Everything just becomes a little bit more distinct, and that's a very powerful thing when it comes to creating reverbs. I'll blend that with the instrumental.
Give me what I want.
I'm going to bring it all the way back.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want.
Yep. And if you could tell there, when I would pull it all the way back to 0%, the reverb did seem a bit bigger, but it was also taking a little bit too much control of the mix. And at 100%, I feel like it sits really nice in there. So let's now dive into the advanced panel. We're going to open that up. And what we're going to do is I'm going to turn off everything first. And this is a great function because every module in here that's an effect you can turn on and off. And I'm going to start with the pitch effect. And this is really fun to do. Turn off the instrumental, play the vocal. So I get the mix at 100%. Throat's about 50%. I'm going to go with -12. And turn it on.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want.
And now I'm going to turn on the +12. Let's hear it with the track. Very
what I
cool.
need.
Really creative.
Give me what I want.
That is
Want
a
you
lot of
all
fun to
over
use.
me. Give me what I want.
Now let's move into tube. I'm going to turn this off so we can hear what's going on here. Right now it's at 0 dBs. And let's play the vocal.
I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my,
And keep in mind, this is pre-verb.
all of my, I want you, all of my, give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what
Oh
I
yeah,
want.
it definitely
Want you
adds some
all over
saturation
me.
to that
Give me
vocal
what
that's
I
before
want.
the reverb.
I want you, all of my,
Very cool. Now let's do the smooth control and see what that does to the vocal. And once again, keep in mind, this is pre-verb.
I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my,
Let's boost it.
I want you, all of my, give me what I want. Give me what I need.
It's
Give
definitely
me what
pulling
I
down
want.
some of
Want you
the high end.
all over me. Give me what I want. I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my.
Yep. And next is a really great feature that's inside here with vocal reverb is a reverse function. I'm not sure if I've seen any other plugin out there that's got a reverse in it. I could be wrong, but they're definitely far and few between. And why this is so great is when you create a reverse reverb without something that does it inside of a plugin, there's definitely quite a few steps you need to do inside of your DAW to make this happen. And having this function built in is a huge time saver. So let's see what it sounds like.
I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my, give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want. I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my.
Yeah, there's definitely some very creative things you can do with this. So some very handy tools that you can use on your preverb. And now let's jump over to the postverb. First up is our tone shaper. And this one's pretty straightforward. You know, with the tilt knob, you can really boost the high end that is in that postverb or in that tail. And if you pull it back, it's the reverse effect. It'll boost the lows that's in that tail, and it will definitely make it seem a lot darker. And here's an example of that.
Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want. I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my.
Yeah, much darker.
I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my.
You can almost make it too bright.
Give me what I
Pulling it back
want.
just a little.
Give me what I need. Give me what
I like that a lot.
want you all.
Next, we have a built-in compressor. And keep in mind, once again, this is post-verb, so this compression is being applied to the tail of the reverb.
Love me. Give me what I want. I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my, I want you, all of my.
So right away, as you can see when I boost it, that tail becomes a lot louder and thicker in the mix. So if you're looking for an effect like that, you could definitely do it with the compressor. But putting it around, at least for this vocal that I'm working with, the mix, right around to 30%, adds a real nice life to it.
I want you, all of my. Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want. I want you, all of my.
Nice. And last is we got a built-in gate here. And very similar to the reverse that's built in, doing a gated reverb can take quite a few steps outside of the plugin you're working with and add time to the session you're working in. And Having a built-in gate is going to be a massive time saver. And let's play around with it, see what it's like.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me.
Very dramatic.
Give me what I want.
Sharp. Let's hear it with the track.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need. Give me what I want you all over me. Give me what I want.
It's a really nice way and quick way to carve out a little bit of space between the tail and what comes after that. Very effective. Thanks for joining us today to learn about our brand new plugin, Vocal Reverb by AutoTune. Head over to autotune.com and get your copy today.